Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video today, I'm going to be answering some of your questions. I put a Q&A box on my Instagram story the other day. I did get a bunch of questions, so I've picked around 10 or 12. So this video doesn't go on for too long. But yeah, with that being said, let's get straight into it. I've made a list on my phone, so I will be reading off them. The first question is, what are some of the most brutal mistakes that closers make that silently kill their commissions? I'd say there's a couple, but just off top of mind, as I am really kind of speaking freely here, the main one that I think that I saw when I was closing, and that I see now coming round with speaking to different girls looking to get into the industry, that there's a misconception that every single closer will just get hot inbound leads 7 days a week, 12 months of the year, and that's just the way it is. And that's not the way it is. Like, no business is perfect. Yes, do you want hot, like warm inbound leads more consistently than not? Obviously. If you're only getting them every now and then, you probably need to move offer and something's terribly wrong with the offer. However, with any business, there's going to be highs and lows. There's going to be good months and bad months, and that is okay. So if you've just had 2 great months on an offer and then something's plummeted, a marketing avenue got shut down and you've stopped getting as many leads, your calendar's looking a bit empty and you don't know what to do, this is not where you jump ship. This is not where you just change offer and find something else. This is where you pick up the phone and dial your pipeline. You want to call leads that you may have lost. You want to call leads who said they don't have the money now, but they'll be ready in a month. You want to look at opt-in leads who looked at a marketing resource. You want to do the behind the scenes work. I have done my fair share of dialing a pipeline. Is it fun? No. Is it something I wanted to do long term? Absolutely not. But did I do it for a bit of time while marketing needed to pick back up, or when I just even wanted to make more money at the end of the month? 100%. So I'd say one of the biggest things that I see is probably laziness or entitlement. And I don't mean that in a harsh way, but I think a lot of closers, especially with marketing today, are taught that you can just come in and have consistent lead flow of hot leads. And yes, it does happen, but it's not a consistent. Number 2 is, how long did it take for you to hit your first 10K month? So I did a video on this, which I will link below, but it took me 6 months. So I discovered high ticket sales. I pretty much got started the same week. I got a program, like a mentorship. Landed an offer within 3 weeks, and then from there, which was September 2023, and then from there it took me 6 months from being like having no sales experience, no high ticket sales skill, to actually making my first 10K month. 3 months of that was setting. I was a triager, a setter, and then 3 months of that was a closer, and I was full-time closing. Everyone's journey looks different. I get asked this very consistently within my training program when new women are joining, like, what time frame can I look at? Because most people do want to hit that 10K per month mark. I mean, I've had girls who have done it in a month, I'm not going to lie, but then I've had girls who are on the progression who it's probably looking like it's going to take 5 or 6 months. So it really depends. There's 2 things that I teach in my program that are very, very important. It's skill set and offer acquisition. You need both to make the money you want to in this industry. There are then levels to skill set and offer acquisition as well. So it's really learning what are the variables, what type of vehicle do you need to be on, what type of skill set do you need to match that vehicle to actually get hired for an opportunity like that. Because it certainly does not happen overnight for most people. There's a lot of work and slog that goes into it, right? A lot of long hours to build the skill set, to build the confidence to then be able to close comfortably and be making 10K consistently. But yes, for me personally, it took me 6 months. Question number 3. Do you help your students every step of the way, including finding jobs? 100%. I teach my students from A to Z how to start and scale their sales career. So it's one-on-one support, it's the training modules, it's the community calls, it's finding jobs, having access to internal job posts within the community, learning the skill set to find jobs independently, because I never want my girls to act out of scarcity like I did for so long. And then it's also my network. So I always say I'm connected with some of the biggest recruiters and hiring managers in the space. So I will always assist my girls getting jobs as and when I can. But most importantly, like I said, giving them the skill set to actually also find their own opportunities. So with or without me, they can make the money they want in sales. That is super important to me. Number 4 is, how do you deal with burnout, self-doubt, or isolation when scaling? That's a good question. Off the top of mind, I try and treat myself to something at least once per week these days. I've definitely learnt my lesson. There was times where I'd lock myself away for 6-7 days a week. Wouldn't even go to the gym, wouldn't get my steps, would just work. And yeah, there's a season of life and sometimes you've got to do what you've got to do, but that's not healthy, especially not long term. I'm lucky that my friends and family are very patient with me. They know that life's just a bit different now and I'm just not as readily available, and I'll text back when I can and I'll arrange something when I can, because I am very focused and I am very on a mission to help the women in my program and grow my business and help as many women as I can really get into sales and change their life just like I did. So it is very, very different now. But today, and what I've learned from that kind of 1.5 year slog, would be trying to treat myself at least once a week. For me personally, I'm quite girly in the aspect that I want to get my nails done. I want to go to the spa and go and get my hair done, or go shopping, or go to a lovely restaurant, go and get coffee, do all those types of activities. They're my favorite. They make me feel very happy. So that's what I do personally. Everyone will be different, whether it's going for a hike, spending time with family, or whatever it may be. I know everyone has different ways of letting go of steam, but I think it's priority just to give yourself one day off, especially if you're on your screen and on your phone all day like we do in this industry. One day off, no phones, no work, emails, nothing. Just try and detach from everything, so at least you can come back and work the next 6 days feeling somewhat refreshed and ready just to go all in, because it's very easy to just let every single day and every single month roll over. I say this to the women in my training. I say this to the people I was managing when I used to manage sales offers. If you don't reward yourself for the good and the bad, it will just keep on rolling over. Like every single day will be the same, month in, month out. It will be Groundhog Day and you will get burnout very, very quickly. So rewarding yourself in some way will prevent burnout happening and help you work more efficiently and honestly just be a lot happier overall. My next question is, how consistent is your income with high ticket sales? So a lot of people will tell you different things. For me personally, my journey has been very consistent. Apart from the 2 months where I was ramping up, where I think I said I made, like I showed you the screenshot, it was like £900 or £850 in my first month, and then like 2K or something in my second month. From then onwards, my lowest month has been, just to be totally transparent, as a closer, my lowest month has been £4K, and then my highest probably like 38K in the month. And that has been pure consistency. And it's not like 4K to 38K and then drops back down again. It's like building. And maybe it will differ by 3 or 5K that month, depending on if it's been a slow month or whatever. But it's been very consistent. And that is because the vehicle that I've been on, and this is what I teach in my program, it makes a huge difference on the vehicle you're on and the companies you're working for. I teach the girls in my program to work for a certain level of companies, how to find them, and honestly not accept anything less unless you just want to get dial experience. Because if you're on the right vehicle with a company that's bringing in consistent cash flow and sales reps who are already making the income you want to make, then it's going to be proven that you're going to do it too. And you're going to have the skill set and you're going to be in the right place. And as a byproduct, you are going to make consistent income. Because I actually have had a few women come to me recently just before they've joined my program asking me, is sales stable, etc. And for me, I honestly think it is. Maybe not at the first couple of months when you're finding the offer, you're learning the skill, you're ramping up. I always advise to have either a job or an emergency fund just to buffer you. But once you're in it and you're on the right vehicle and you've learned your skill, it's super stable. You've got a skill that not many people have, and a skill that you can really apply in any field. So yeah, that would be my answer to the question. Next question is, what do you spend your money on? I think I laughed when I saw this question. I think a lot of people would be really surprised to know that I actually don't spend a lot of money. And that's not out of scarcity or being frugal or anything like that. I got into sales with a purpose to build stability for my future, to kind of get me out of scarcity that I was in. I used to make like 2K a month pounds as a nanny. So I got into sales to change my life and to better my life and my family's life. And that means that I've got to build and that I've got to grow wealth, not just spend. And I say this to the women in my program: do not live paycheck to paycheck. I can honestly say I have never spent, in my whole career of sales, I have never spent a full paycheck. Not even close. Yes, I like to treat myself, and there are certain things now I earn more that I don't even think twice about. So I'd never think twice about the beauty treatments I buy, or when I want to go to a spa, or the food I buy, or like my coffee order, for example. Or when I give money to my family, or if I give gifts to my family and friends. Never think twice about anything like that, because I feel fortunate enough to have the means to not think twice. But believe it or not, I actually only bought my first ever designer item, which was a designer bag, in February this year for my birthday. Before that, I was earning consistently 35K a month for months before my birthday, and I never bought or splashed out or did anything like that. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. Like, everyone has different mindsets around it, and everyone, I guess, spends their money in different ways. But this is just my personal perspective and the advice I give to the women in my program. Build wealth, use sales for longevity, use sales for cash flow. You don't just have one 20K month or one 10K month and your life is sorted, right? You've got to have multiple of those to compound, to build wealth and build stability. So yeah, it's probably a very boring answer. I haven't bought new cars or a whole new wardrobe or 10 designer bags by any means, but that's my outlook on it. I'm using sales to leverage my future, to build long-term wealth. So I'm not necessarily careful, but I'm just mindful of how I spend my money. Next question. I have a 6-figure 9-to-5 job at 21 and I'm scared to make the jump. Completely understandable. First of all, being 21 and to already have achieved that type of 9-to-5 is incredible. So you should be super happy and proud of yourself. I would say overall, if you're tempted to get into sales, ask yourself why. What is it you feel your current job is lacking that you see within sales? I'm going to assume it's time freedom, because 9-to-5s typically means you're bound to a desk and office location. So it's going to be time and location freedom, I assume, because you're already earning decent money. If that's so, I would just think you're 21. You probably don't realize that you're so young right now, but you are. And this is an opportunity for you to take risks. You're never going to have as much opportunity and the least liabilities than you do right now. I'm not sure if you live at home or if you have moved out, but either or, you know, you're going to be fine. I'm assuming you don't have kids, you don't have a family, you don't have a dog, you might have a partner, I'm unsure, but all of those things, you're so young. So if you don't have those things, you are really in a position to take huge risks. So I would say really evaluate the pros and cons of why you want to leave your job. Are the pros enough to keep you, or are the cons enough to make you leave? And if you feel you're not going to be able to get that full fulfillment, because money isn't everything, right? If you're not going to be able to travel and experience the things you want to do in your current job, then I would recommend giving yourself a 6-month buffer of your income and just giving sales your best shot, because you can absolutely make 6 figures in sales without a question, and you can have time freedom and you can have location freedom. Will it happen overnight? Are you going to make 6 figures in your first month, or like the monthly wage to do so? Of course not. Well, probably not. But over the next few months, once you've learned the skill and built your confidence, will you be able to do that? 100%. And I always think, you know what happens if you stay the same. You know where you'll be, you know the outcome, but you don't know what happens if you just bet on yourself and try. So that would be my advice. I understand it's very difficult in your position, but just remember how young you are and how much of life you have ahead of you, to not just waste it, you know, feeling unhappy in your current job. The next question. Some honest and harsh realities of high ticket sales. Good question. I would say harsh realities is, I preach this on my channel the whole time. So if you watch this channel frequently, you're probably not surprised about anything I'm about to say. But if you don't, I'd say some harsh realities would be, you're not going to make great money overnight, probably. It's not going to come supernaturally to you overnight. You know, most people get into this, they'll do some role plays and then they'll be like, wow, it's actually pretty hard. It's harder than it looks. Good sales reps make it look very, very easy. But that's okay. You know, good sales reps had to start somewhere too. They started off feeling anxious and not having the best skill. It just takes time. So yeah, you're not going to make income overnight probably. You're going to find it tricky at first. It's like learning a new skill, building a new muscle in the gym. It's going to be hard, but it 100% gets easier. It's going to take time and hours to build up repetition and to get to the income you want. I'd say if you're going to go into sales, be prepared to spend, 6 to 10 months, in my opinion, of just full focus, full dedication to the craft, to the skill set, to the industry. And then you'll be in a much better position to be able to be on a better vehicle, because you've got the skill set you need. So you'll be able to find a better vehicle with a higher ticket price where you can make more money, so you can actually work less but make more. And that just takes time. Again, everyone wants to rush the journey. Everyone wants to be at the 10K per month overnight. I get it. That was me too. But just know, if you're coming into the industry, be prepared to know it just takes time. And yeah, as long as you've got that mindset and you don't want, quick success overnight, then I think you'd really enjoy it. Next question. Can someone work for you as a high ticket closer? The answer is yes, but soon. And I only will ever employ girls within my program. So when I'm looking for setters or for closers specifically, they will only be from women I've recruited from in my program, where I'd give them a lot of one-on-one support and train them within my business as my business grows. But yeah, that's super exciting. And that is actually something I've been thinking about as of recent, to give someone that opportunity. But not quite yet. I'm not ready to step away from the closing calls just yet, but definitely soon. Next question would be, what would you do now if you were a complete beginner starting out in sales? I would honestly do exactly what I've done. give or take a few shortcuts along the way with the knowledge I know now. But honestly, I wouldn't change anything because it's character building. Like, everything happens for a reason. Everything takes the time it does for a reason. So if I was a complete beginner and I'd start over now, I'd do what I did. I'd go online, I'd find a mentor who I can trust, I'd buy their program, I'd go all in, I'd show up to training calls, I'd go through modules, I would follow what they say step by step. I wouldn't try and reinvent the wheel, I wouldn't think I know better, I wouldn't hold myself back, I would submit to the process and do everything I need to do to see success, listen to their every word. I would get on an offer. I would be the hardest worker. And I'm not just saying that, I mean that. I would do all the DARs I possibly could. I would be the first one in. I would be the last one out. I would go above and beyond. I would set myself up from the start and ask the manager, what do I need to do to become a closer? It's not going to happen overnight. I appreciate that. But I want to have a roadmap here and now of what I can do. And I would do exactly what they told me to do. I would then become a closer and it would start all over. I would be the hardest worker on the team. I would be doing trainings. I'd get my mentor to do core reviews. I'd be asking my mentor questions every single week, every single day without fail to improve. Once I'd built a solid skill set and I was closing at consistent results, I would then find a better vehicle where I could make more money and work less because the ticket price was higher. That's pretty much the exact route that I took. But if you want me to map it out in simple form, that is exactly what I would do if I was to start over all over again. Next question, couple left. I won't go on for too much longer. I don't want the video to be too long. But next question would be, were you a setter first? Yes, I was. I was a setter for 3 months. I did Zoom setting. So I was very lucky where I actually had a position where I could do Zoom setting. On Zoom, spoke with people 15 minutes, set appointments for the closer. It taught me so much skill. And I urge as many people, unless you really, really in your heart think you can feel ready for closing, I would speak to your mentor about it. But there are some women in my program who go straight to closing because it is just right for them. But if you want to build confidence, communication, learn objections, learn prospects, setting, honestly, even if it's just for a couple months, it's a really great way to do that without having so much pressure. Because once you're a closer, there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders. I don't think people talk about that, but you are the only person bringing in money for that business. Obviously, there's probably going to be a team of setters, but maybe 3 or 4 of you are the reason that every single person in that company gets paid. It's a lot of pressure. So you want to be ready, that you want to be sure that you are ready, to take on that pressure. How do you get on an offer with no experience? I get asked this question all the time. I really focus on this in my training. I have so many girls who get offers with no experience. We have Michelle. She got an offer within 2 weeks of my program. Haley got an offer within 2 days of my program, or 3 days. No experience. Maria, she doesn't even speak full English. It's her second language. She's worked super hard. She's been able to get an offer, I believe, don't quote me on it, I want to say 4 weeks because she had to stop. She had some exams. And yeah, the list kind of goes on. So there's a lot of girls in my program who get offers without experience. It's about having the right training and having the right interview prep. I don't think interview prep is covered enough. It's learning how to vet the right offers, ask the right questions so you're not working for free and you're not working for a scam, basically. So yeah, I would say find a mentor that can guide you through. But if I can give you any advice here and now, it would be having the confidence and conviction in an interview. Learn how to present yourself, learn how to be confident, and learn the tell me about yourself question. It's the most asked question, but not many people know how to answer it and do a good job at that. I would say last but not least, I'll wrap it up here. So last question on my list would be some habits that help you stay productive. So something that I say a lot to the girls in my program when they're starting out and they're setting KPIs, they're trying to figure out targets to allow them to move quickly and find positions and practice, is to get really granular with your inputs. So let's say you want to message people or like people's posts or message recruiters or do some role plays. Don't just say, I am going to message people today or I'm going to do a role play this week. That's too vague. When you've come home from work and you've had a long day, you're not just going to want to do those things because you've got to put so much thought into it that it's going to put you off. Instead, get really, really granular with what it is you need to do. So if you want to message 5 recruiters, book 2 role plays, one on a Wednesday and one on a Sunday. Like 10 people's posts. Send 5 messages every single day on LinkedIn, for example. It's getting very, very specific. That will take the guesswork out of it and help you stay productive. So that would be my number 1 tip. My second tip, if you are already in sales and you're closing and you want to get better, is do call reviews on the treadmill. Do call reviews when you're driving in the car. Do it alongside something because a call review takes time. It's like an hour long. So, when you're working super hard and then you want to have some downtime, try and fit like 3 or 4 hours a week of call reviews in. It's pretty tricky. So multitask. I used to get my 10K steps in while doing call reviews. It was an absolute game changer. And I'd make like notes on how to improve on my notes app on my phone. And I think that's the most high leverage productive thing that you can do. And then the third, I'd say last but not least, would be leverage the community you're in. If they have training calls, attend at least one a week. Book it in your calendar so you have structure and you have other community members. So like I always say this to women in my program, show up at least once a week because you're going to be surrounded by like-minded, motivated women. So if you're in a rut, you're going to already get that motivation as a byproduct. My students have direct access to me on the calls, so I can also help them, ask them questions, give them mindset, give them motivation. And honestly, just being around your community and just being around people who are more successful than you will typically act as a byproduct and then will mean that you are as successful or you'll get your mojo back and you'll be able to stay consistent and be productive and feel positive. And that is it, guys. That is all the questions I'm going to answer today. There was a lot of questions in the Q&A box on Instagram, so I really appreciate that. I'll definitely do another one of these soon if you do enjoy this type of video. This was definitely very like sales and business related. I think it's nice just to get a bit of a behind the scenes picture of my opinions of how I feel, about the industry, how you can get into it and kind of learn from that directly. So hope you enjoyed. As always, I'll leave a link down below if you are a woman looking to get into sales or if you're already in sales and you're looking to take your career to the next level. I'll put a link for my application form. Fill out the form. I review all of them personally. You can book a call with me personally. We can have a chat. We can discuss your goals, see if the partnership makes sense, see if I can help and work with you together. And go from there. But thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.